Yes, see, the body is a symbol. The body is a defense against the truth. And words are but symbols. So it's the double shield of oblivion to the total light of the total energy of the total now, where not a note in heaven's song was missed on a journey without distance, in the energetically linked eternal moment of the total light, of the total energy of the total now. So as the infinite completion of the infinite oneness experience with source awareness, we are all already healed and are all ready to consciously create an enlightened planetary civilization, transcending the third dimension of illusions, casting government and religion out of the third dimension into the perfect oneness and perfect love of the fourth dimensional Jesus. Yeah, the problem with religion is that they don't speak about the astral body and the astral realm and how our spirit is indestructible and eternal. They'd rather focus on the body, on how the body can be fooled into believing that it's cut off from God and the whole entire physical universe, and the change in the links to the happiness of life are therefore destroyed. God can be murdered, which is an illusion. That's why he resurrected through the miracle power of co-creation with source awareness. And religion is the song and dance around the idea of looking at the frame of the picture of Jesus. They look at the framework and not the image, because if they studied the image and the esoteric teachings of the Essenes that Jesus ascertained, you'd realize the depths of the inner workings of the soul and capitulate to the propounded idea of the expounded idea of infinite completion as the infinite point of awareness. But our religion doesn't want to do that. They would rather look at the frame of the picture and just say, oh, look at his life, look at the stories we hear, but never the studies that he studied. There are two ways to approach life and the self. There's the world of illusion, of the straw man, of the puppet that thinks that it is real and is usurping from the infinite power of creation, and it vacillates between the false sense of self and the total light of the total energy of the total now. So the straw man is the world of illusion, and the creation power of oneness with God and each other is reality. And so the puppet straw man, who has a religion, who has a government, who kills animals, who usurps from the eternal power of creation in an infinite oneness experience with the source of all creation, is seeking out to awaken the decision maker, because there's a world of dystopia and there's a world of utopia, and in the middle is the decision maker. And so being a free will galaxy, being a free will universe, to impose on the plight of humanity to correct itself into perfect alignment with perfect oneness and perfect love would be to abolish the laws of free will. So reincarnation after reincarnation, time after time, will we eventually have enough of suffering and have enough of the wheel of birth and death that we use our decision power to transcend all suffering by waking up to the eternal truth that 1 plus 1 equals 1 in the energetically linked eternal moment of the total light of the total energy of the total now. Yeah, it's not definable, for it is a symbolless, non-specific, eternal state of existence. It is the eternal energies of the highest dimension, and it's shared in the revelation of who we truly are, that there are no words to describe it. It's awareness, watching awareness, focusing on source awareness, focusing on source awareness of the total energy of the total now, of perfect oneness and perfect love. So it's a universal experience of the infinite intelligence of total light. It's the answer to the eternal crux. And the mind cannot fully grasp it. It's a stepping back from the body and realizing the body is in the mind, and it is an infinite extension, realizing that the whole entire physical universe is in the mind as well. So it's pure consciousness operating on the highest levels of existence. And it goes without saying that the wisdom that passeth full understanding is to pass on the essence of love. Yeah, in the total light of the total energy of the total now, of the infinite completion as the infinite point of awareness, on a journey without distance in the energetically linked eternal moment of the infinite oneness experience with Prime Creator, speaking into existence the highest spirit of God, the unified plane of the universal stream of universal consciousness, a universal utopia of the perfect oneness and perfect love of heaven. It sounds like you're trying to get rid of your ego with an activity of your ego. It sounds like you're trying to say this illusion, which is the ego, and the hierarchy of its gods and God, and then there's reality. And then when you can experience reality, which is very hard to do, mind you, it takes a lot of soul work to shed the layers of the soul to realize there's only one Holy Spirit, and that soul work of development was really a spiritual ego who tried to get rid of his ego with an activity of his ego, all to realize that the ego and illusion had no effects upon eternity. So, in other words, there are words like infinite completion, total perfection, total right-mindedness, supreme good, ultimate reality, absolute reality. They're all synonyms of reality. And reality is not about differences. In a world of differences, you may say, who are you? And that would make sense. But to an enlightened ascended master, asking the question, who are you, is like saying, well, I bet he's going to ask for a psychic reading if I give him a good answer. But that's not the way of the world, and that's not the way of the psychic abilities. For the best way to predict the future is to create the future. And that's coming from a type 3 civilization. The best way to predict the future is to create the future. So, who are you? Well, I'm a love mastermind reality flow who's consciously creating an enlightened planetary civilization on a journey without distance in the total light of the total energy of the total now. flowing as perfect oneness and perfect love. Yeah, religion in general, Christianity got God, the ego's God, the most articulate, of being judgmental, condemning and vengeful. These are traits of an ego belief system, of the false sense of self, of being cut off from reality and cut off from the source of all creation. So Christianity being the perfect model for the antithesis for a holographic universe, well, you have to look at the third chapter of Genesis and the whole system, the whole belief system, the whole faith, the whole AI can't do the work for you, the whole rebellion against the singularity intelligence long ago as a defense against the awareness of our perfect oneness with Source, is that the whole system's based on guilt for having proclaimed your individuality. You gain the knowledge of the tree of good and evil, and you proclaimed your individuality as a usurp and a triumph over God, who is perfect oneness, and therefore miscreated the thought system of sin, guilt and fear, the unholy trinity, in a world and home of evil, darkness and sin. It's practically charm with the right hand. I'll charm you, I'll charm the cow into the slaughterhouse, and then I'll slap it with the other hand. It's the madness and tyranny of the insane thought system that is the ego. And this whole world, 99% of this world wouldn't have a clue. They wouldn't have a clue what love is. They wouldn't have a clue what a chakra is. They wouldn't have a clue what the knowledge of the inner workings of the soul is. But yet, it's all about seek and do not find until you meet an ascended master. So there you go. Alright, my friend. So basically my whole message is that there are two ways to approach life and the self. And there are two ways to identify with yourself and your relationship to the universe. One being the body-mind, which makes sense within reason. And the other way to approach life and the self is the spirit-mind, which has the quality of emotional intelligence of the withdrawn faculty from the body-mind thought system. So the body-mind thought system, being 99% of the world with which we have been presented with, is based on the delusion of having counted past 1, of the algorithm of 1 + 1 = 2. And we all believe, after having placed value in this illusion, that we not only did something wrong, but that we are something wrong, which an illusion of individuality cannot wake up to the illusion of separation. For an illusion is an illusion is an illusion. So being full of a half-truth can only produce half results. And so the first step to healing is realizing that 2 + 2 = 5 instead of 1 + 1 = 2. And that there is something in the unknown of 2 + 2 = 5 that once understood could change the likes of everything on the face of the planet. So that truth is 1 + 1 = 1 in the energetically linked eternal moment of the total light of the total energy of the total now, where in the unified plane of existence, not a note in heaven's song was missed. So the solution to all of the world's problems is to not change the world, but to change one's mind about the world, which leads to the alignment with the eternal divine path of perfect oneness and perfect love. So now we know that 2 + 2 = 5, we now have to take the required path of self-purification, which cannot be done without free will. And so being mindful of the overall plan of salvation, the best possible next step in the plan to react to the new scientific knowledge of our true nature of existence and relationship to it, being founded upon the perfect oneness and perfect love of sharing instead of competition. So, with the paradox of competition and sharing being synchronistic under the guiding principle of a universal dichotomy of there is sharing and there is competition, yet all there is competition, all in the understanding of the fairness of equality and love, then it has been my honor to present to you the only other way to look at quantum mechanics, which is total sharing and total love of the algorithm of 1 + 1 = 1. So if you understand this, you understand the plight of humanity and how to transcend an order of difficulties to miracles and love's extension in the unified plane of existence. Yeah, I mean, we've got a map to the brain. We've got the science to understand the cognitive function of consciousness. And we know how to compartmentalize dystopia and utopia. And so there's two algorithms, and there's two ways to approach life and the self. There's the unified approach, which believes in perfect oneness and perfect love and total innocence of the infinite completion as the eternal point of awareness. And then there's the other approach, which is the dualistic, which deals with projection makes perception, which incurs a split in the one mind of the erroneous belief of the delusion of counting past one, and therefore projecting out of the mind its thoughts, believing ideas leave their source, and then miscreating the whole entire physical universe and body, and putting the mind in the body as a lock-in trap, and therefore we are helpless professional victims of reality. So which one would you subscribe to? Would you subscribe to reality, or would you subscribe to the world? Because the world wouldn't have a clue what truth or love is, so why would you listen to them when they got you this far into the snowball effect of the consequences and ramifications of having proclaimed your individuality as a usurp from the eternal powers of creation? Yeah, the algorithm of 1 + 1 = 2 of projection makes perception, which incurs the split in the one mind, incurring individuality of the delusion of counting past one, of being cut off from God and each other as the projection of an order of difficulties to miracles, of competition and magic as astral projection, as the casting of ideas out of the mind into the world, and then blaming the world for your own inadequacies, is the erroneous belief which has absolutely not one iota of scientific evidence for, as the dualistically geared ego, body, mind, false sense of self, delusion paradigm of dystopia. And then on the other hand, we have 1 + 1 = 1, of the miracle-mindedness of the spirit extension of the one mind, of perfect oneness and perfect love. We must all capitulate to the propounded idea of the expounded idea of the adept epistemology of anthropology that does not anthropomorphize the one source of the infinite completion as the infinite point of awareness on a journey without distance in the energetically linked eternal moment of the total light, of the total energy, of the total now, where not a note in heaven song was missed, as the total core of the total consciousness of the one mind radio wave of the capricious, veracious, intrinsic, extrinsic, fortuitous, gratuitous, pure vibration of the innermost self having an infinite oneness experience with source awareness. flowing down the universal stream of universal consciousness, of the universal being, of the universal plight, of the transcendence of a hierarchy of an order of difficulties to miracles, flowing as perfect oneness and perfect love.